You have a good day, kitty. Love you. All right, it's a Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. Welcome to the Please Subscribe Show. I'm the host, Cole Spivey. And there's Critter. He likes to hang on my rearview mirror. He lives, he laughs, he smells good. Thank you, Critter. All right, so we're gonna reset accumulated info. It's saying 69 degrees Fahrenheit, but according to the Apple weather, it's 65, so it's a little warmer in my car. But the high is 70 and low is 50. I did check out WeatherBug today on a 10-day, and it says a Tuesday. It says a low of 46, so that's pretty different. Not too bad on the difference, but about 4 degrees. So we'll see by the end of the night. I don't know if that's going to be, if you do an hourly, you can kind of go down here on WeatherBug. I use WeatherBug, and you can see it's probably like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So they're just basically, you know, giving you what the day would be. It just went up to 51, so it's sunny. And it's a Tuesday. Okay, yeah, so I'm still listening to The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I did find out, I did say something about the rings. There's actually 20 rings. So there's 20 rings of power mentioned in The Lord of the Rings. The one evil guy is Sauron. I've heard him pronounced Sauron. But that's the one ring that will rule them all. There's 3 for the elves, there's 7 for the dwarves, and then there's 9 for mortal men. So I just wanted to reiterate that there's actually 20 mentioned. And I listened today about the Tom character that's usually omitted through adaptations. There's the butterfly. Tom Babaldi. I believe that's how you say his name. Bodley. Tom Bombadley. I'll look that up in a minute. Tom Bombadley. He's basically a side character that you never really hear about. And he's a musician, and he commands things with singing. And he's kind of a have-not character. He just hangs out and talks to Frodo. But he knows more about things than Gandalf does on certain subjects. And that's kind of why he's there. It's kind of a mouthpiece, I guess, for J.R.R. Tolkien to talk about certain things. I think that's how I'm interpreting him. You know, he's kind of an artist type of character. At least he's a musician. So, Tom Bombadley, I think is how you say it. I'll look that up in a minute. Anyway, all right, so this is the part of the show where you get to watch me pick up food at restaurants and drop it off at your doorstep. Nailed it. And you can subscribe here if you'd like to subscribe, and hit the notifying bell. And also, I'm going to put my PayPal right here. So if you'd like to support the channel, we'd appreciate that. All right, here we go. Bombadil, that's what it was. Okay, Tom Bombadil. He's the character that's usually cut out of The Lord of the Rings on adaptations and in Peter Jackson's movie. So Tom Bombadil. Bombadil, I think I think that's how the reader pronounced it. Tom Bombadil. Got it. All right. And that's what I was listening to the last time I was listening to it. The little chapter. I think it's around circa chapter 8, around there. Tom Bombadil. That's how you say it. It's kind of a weird name. Bombadil. Think of dill pickle, and you might get it. Bombadil. That's what I think of, like dill pickle. Bombadil. Tom Bombadil. He's kind of a funny character. All right, Elf is going to be at Will Rogers Auditorium December 30th. And then Rudolph is going on in November. There's December, and Wizard of Oz will start January 23rd through February 15th at Casa Manana. But the Elf one is at Will Rogers. All right, CVS inventory. This is where we scan the shelves on or inside of a CVS pharmacy. It depends on how fast and how still you are. You know, whenever you move, you kind of like take the photo, then move down the aisle, take a photo, move down the aisle, take a photo, move down the aisle, take a photo. So each time when you do it, you have to plant yourself and be really still. But it ranges on time, but I'll get the time on the pickup of when we arrive at CVS, and then the time, you know, when we exit. So I'll try to get that. All right, CVS inventory scan 5:24, 4 minutes, 1.4 miles for the inventory check. All right, but pretty smooth. Just capture, you know, you look at the screen, just kind of follow instructions, take the photos. And usually you want to capture both sides. So if it's aisle 5, you get both sides of aisle 5. Same thing with aisle 6 and all the other aisles that they ask for. All right. So leaving about 5:45. All right, got one at Mellow Mushroom, 5:55 arrival time, 8 minutes, 3.2 miles for that pickup.
My merry friends, and let the warm sunlight heat now heart and limb. Cast off.
What I'm noticing quite a bit in J.R.R. Tolkien's work is that there's a lot of sing-songy songs. I've probably come across 20 songs that maybe the Hobbits sing, especially Tom Bombadil. Yeah, he sings quite a bit too. That may be why that guy Malcolm that I found on Facebook, I believe his name is Malcolm Geit. He's also an Anglican priest, and that's Protestant, basically like a Protestant minister, pretty much. There's not really priests in the Protestant Reformation, really, but they're kind of, I mean, the Anglicans it goes all the way back to Henry VIII, when Henry VIII divorced the Catholic Church. So he's not part of the Catholic, but he still wears a collar. He's a man of the cloth. And he also analyzes J.R.R. Tolkien, and he talks about it quite a bit on YouTube. I've been watching him as I watch this as like a companion piece, and you learn a lot from him because he's dedicated his life to it, as well as other things like Psalms, and he studies other works, some biblical, and then some, like J.R.R. Tolkien. I haven't really heard him say anything about C.S. Lewis, but he has mentioned C.S. Lewis. But I don't know if he studies The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and things like that. But he does study J.R.R. Tolkien. So this is like my first time kind of visiting Lord of the Rings. So that's kind of why I'm analyzing it and getting to know. So right now, what's going on is Tom Bombadil. Yeah, that's how you say it. It's kind of a weird name. Tom Bombadil. I think that's how they say it. Tom Bombadil. I just think of dill pickle. Tom Bombadil. And he sings a lot of songs and things like that. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a, you could say maybe it could be a comic moment, a comic break moment in the story.
sprang away downhill, whistling and calling, looking down. Oh, swish tail and pumpkin, white socks, my little lad, and old fatty lumpkin.
And that would be Tom Bombadil singing right there.
He sang, running.
And all I want for Christmas is zoo. It's kind of a funny song. Go Fort Worth Zoo. Get a membership. So Tom was singing about a guy named Fatty Lufkin or something like that. And they have 6 ponies that show up, and Mary the elf is on the actual ponies. And that's the moment I'm at right now. Oh, by the way, this is a TCU area. It was established in 1873. About 152 years ago, around there. That's one of the entrances to TCU right there. We're on University. So a long time ago when it first established, it was on 5 square blocks downtown Fort Worth. But there was too much, activity with bars and all this, crime-infested stuff that you would see like in Westerns and stuff like that. So they brought it here to this area and then established it here because it was away from kind of the rowdy, think of North Side, a little bit like that back in the day. It's back when there were cowboys and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid kind of thing.
Bowed to the hobbits. Here are your ponies now, he said.
All right. Pull them in. Mellow mushroom. There's like a massive tree right outside of Mellow Mushroom, which is right there. You can see this huge tree right here. And it looks like it's a crescent moon, possibly one. All right, so Thanksgiving and Christmas Day they're closed, and New Year's. Oh, they actually have hours for New Year's. Mellow Mushroom on its way. 6:16 arrival, 15 minutes, 8.3 miles for that delivery. Oh yeah, it's going to Benbrook, and we're going to probably stay in this area. See all the traffic going up to Hewlett Mall area. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's some kind of Cyber Tuesday, or it's the sale after Cyber Monday. They have different names for it, but it's like a day where you get discounts. I think Cyber Monday was yesterday, so this is like you go in, get discounts in different places.
Fighting had not before occurred to any of them.
So one thing that Tom Bombadil provides is weaponry. He gives them, I think, 6 knives, which they treat as like swords. So he breaks out with these 6 knives that were, created a long time ago, and he hands them out to the hobbits. And I believe Mary's with them too on the pony. They're all on 6 ponies. All right, correction. Mary Brandenburg is one of the characters, one of the hobbits that's with them on the ponies. All right, so the primary female elf is actually named Galadriel, Lady of Lothlorien, and Erin Uldumian, daughter of Elrond, the elf. So Liv Tyler is the one that plays Erin the elf in Lord of the Rings. Sakura Japanese Restaurant, 6:27 arrival, 2 minutes, 0.8 miles for the pickup. Rum rum. It looks like it's all you can eat. Sushi and ramen. It's Japanese. Sakura Japanese on its way, 6:39, 7 minutes, 5.3 miles for the delivery.
The Brie folk, big and little, did not themselves.
For sale, call Paul Harding at 214-494-9829. Orchard. Starbucks, 6483.8. Starbucks on the way, 7:03, 8 minutes, 4.1 miles for that delivery. Look at that little penguin with a Christmas hat on. I remember doing that, having soccer practice in some field, some unknown field. That wasn't exactly a soccer field.
He was in and out pretty often last spring. But what his right name is, I've never heard. But he's known round here as Longshanks, though he don't tell nobody what cause he has to hurry. But there's no accounting for east and west, as we say in Brie, meaning the rangers and the shire folk, begging your pardon. Funny you should ask about.
All right, looks like we got a Zap Kitchen. It could be going 10 miles out, we'll have to see, or it's a heavy tipper. 7:23 arrival, 1 minute, 0.5 for that pickup. Live a life well lived. All right, so usually I've done this one, that one. That one was done in 1924. This one was done in 1955. It's Figures in the Rain, San Francisco. Perkle Jones. She was born in 1942 and died in 2009. It's Eamon Carter, part of the 45,000 photo collection. Out of 45,000 expedition quality prints in Fort Worth. Eamon Carter. All right, going in the sand. Looks like this one's going all the way to Arlington, so we're gonna get some traffic reports coming up here pretty soon. This is selections from the photography collection at Eamon Carter. Right there. All right. Going to Arlington with the Zap. 7:50 arrival, 18 minutes, 14 miles for the delivery. I got one of these types of candies at the Japanese restaurant.
In imitation of the speech, and was drawing near to the astonishing disappearance, no doubt. Just a funny story about those funny people away beyond the river. But some, old Butter...
I think this is the moment in Lord of the Rings where they meet Strider. Asleep until next October. So no scary Thanksgiving.
Strider looking Frodo in the eye.
Alright, so Strider is the alias for the character Aragorn. And Frodo has an alias too, Underhill. He's the heir of Isildur and the rightful king of Gondor, who travels in secret as a ranger of the North. He's played in Peter Jackson's movie by this actor right here. I don't know why they don't list his name right here. He's listed as a fictional character. Some information on him. His weapon is this thing right here. Underrule. Just sword. Looks like that. He played Strider in Lord of the Rings. Viggo Mortensen.
Broken crockery. Of course there's a mistake, said Frodo. I haven't vanished. Here I am. I've just been having a few words with Strider in the corner. He came forward into the firelight, but most of the company backed away, even more perturbed than before. They were not a nation that he had crawled away quickly under the tables after.
Clear alert, College Station. It's a blue Chevy, KYK 1577.
I have hunted many wild and weary things, and I can usually avoid being seen if I wish.
All right, got one at Shake Shack, 827 arrival, 1 minute, 200 feet. They got the Big Shack. No, I don't advertise that. It's got half pound 100% Angus beef. Tangy, creamy secret sauce. Hand-sliced tomatoes. Melted American cheese. French onions. Don't forget the holiday shakes. Shake Shack on the way, 8:43, 7 minutes, 3 miles for the delivery.
The Shire, and for one by the name of Baggins in particular. And what?
This little community house is right down there. Something down there. It's pretty interesting. Zap. On a one-horse open sleigh. It's festive and reminding you to shop. Zap Kitchen on the way, 9:38 arrival, 12 minutes, 4.8 miles for the delivery. Hey, kitty. All right, Whataburger on Hemp Hill, 10:03 arrival, 5 minutes, 1.8 miles for the pickup. All right, first one going to the Omni, 10:31, 7 minutes, 2.5 miles. We got two of them. All right, now we go with the second one. All right, next one's going to the Hampton Inn. We got two Whataburgers, so we're on number 2. 2:41 arrival, 2 minutes, 0.3 for the delivery. All right, got one at the grocery warehouse, 10:57 arrival, 8 minutes, 3.3 miles for that pickup. Rum, rum.
Silent for a while, looking at the hobbits, as if he was weighing up their strength and courage. Ponies would not help us to escape horsemen.
All right, 1931, a guy named Wyatt C. Hedrick decided, well, he was already an architect, and he decided to create this United States Postal Office right here. And he used Beaux-Arts, which is definitely French neoclassicism, Renaissance, and you guessed it, Baroque. It's got all those elements. So you can go inside and actually see some of those elements as well. They have some of the murals on the wall and stuff like that that represent those three elements. According to Wikipedia, I haven't seen it all myself, but I have seen the outside of it. I would say Renaissance is definitely there, and French neoclassicism. Baroque is kind of a hard one to describe. It's basically kind of a heightened collection of many different arts all kind of put together. Usually they have like, it's very gaudy. It's got like a lot of, think of a Moliere play maybe, that might help. It's like there'd be like lots of angels, you know, all clumped together in one painting. An overabundance of stuff is Baroque. It's different ways of describing it. Baroque is basically relating to or denoting a style of European architecture, music, and art of the 17th, 18th centuries, that follow a mannerism and characterized by ornate detail. Architecture of the period exemplified the Palace of Versailles by the work of Bernini in Italy. Vivaldi, Bach. Yes, Bach is overabundance in the music. That's very much like an overabundance. Handel. Looks like they have an emergency. So I go this way. Grocery warehouse on its way. 11:12 arrival. 9 minutes, 4.7 miles for that delivery.
Permanent trail, even for rangers to find through their shifting quagmires.
Got old tube television. It's probably from maybe even the late 80s. There's two of them. The other one looks like it's from the 90s. Alrighty, that's the last one for tonight. Guess the temperatures are going to be changing here within the month. Probably a little around Thanksgiving or so. And December's going to be coming up. So yeah, so the last 5 years or so, 5 winters I've done this. It gets kind of weird. What is it? Is it Alcon right here? Yeah, Alcon somewhere around here. I used to work at Alcon packaging. They're basically like, if you have contacts, you have contact lens solution. So the bottles are kept in these, they're kind of like these plastic, think of those old ketchup and mustard bottles that you would see at the old, or that you would use at the old burger joint, only they were always white. And we would cut the packages open and dump them out for repackaging. I worked for Manpower for a while. I did that at Alcon. And then sometimes we would load the Alcon bottles on pilot crates for packaging and stuff like that. We kind of move them around, and if we were in what's called repack, it's kind of tedious. You cut the tops off of these you know, the packaging that goes into the store. You'd cut the top off and then dump them out, and then they'd go into a pile. There'd be thousands of them. And then also we would load them onto crates. It was a lot of fun. Summertime kind of stuff. Down here there's a Politos. I worked at that Politos one summer. They have these corn chips that are like Fritos that they serve with their hot sauce. They're still around. There's a Politos in Fort Worth. I think this Politos is right here, coming up this way. Kind of approaching Seminary, or is it right here? Or it used to be right there, maybe. They might have moved it. I don't know if the Politos is still there. There is a Politos that's downtown Fort Worth by University and Botanic Gardens. It's kind of over in that area. Yeah, I guess that Politos moved, or maybe I already passed it. I don't know. Is that the Politos? No, it's something else. It's Taco Cabana. Yeah, it would have been back there. I don't know if that Politos is still there. All right. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is it's a big chunk of material. It's kind of a literary classic, you know. So it's good to study, to get some of the names, some of the plot. But what I noticed about J.R.R. Tolkien, listening to it, is he kind of created a big map, and all these different areas that he would begin to describe. Like, for example, I don't know, Tom character, Babad, I'm trying to think exactly how to say it. Bombadil, yeah, Bombadil. It's kind of a musical thing. You know, he describes the setting and the characters, and then he goes into detail, sometimes the history of the character, and then they have this like runaway dialogue that goes on, and it's always kind of the same short story put together, even though it's a very, very long novel. But they always have kind of the same rhythm for each character that he brings about, which are a lot of characters. The elves are the same thing, but they all have like a different energy. And it's amazing that only one writer was behind that, which was J.R.R. Tolkien. It's an immense amount of literature. It's 1,200 pages. I think this read, which is 11 hours, it's about an 11-hour read, it's only like half the book. So the whole read could be like a whole day. It's pretty amazing. It's a lot of stuff. All right. St. Paul Lutheran's Church, not as I will, but as you will, Matthew 26:39. Oh, I think they changed that on the weekend. They usually change it on the weekend. I usually get it in one direction. But yeah, it's a good read. Just be prepared when you listen to The Lord of the Rings. It's kind of sing-songy at times. It's not written like a lot of other fantasy novels. I think J.R.R. Tolkien had a thing about music and songwriting. You know, it's musical. But the descriptions alone are brilliant. You know, just how he described things, he was very good at that. Probably more detailed than most writers when it comes to describing things in a very poetic way. But the historical layout, you know, of the characters and the hierarchy, you know, he creates all these levels of characters, you know, like several different hobbits, several different elves. There's these sets of rings, you know, there's 3 sets of rings for the elves, 7 sets of rings for the dwarves, 9 sets of rings for the mortal men, and then 1 for the evil character. All that kind of stuff is it's amazing that a person thought of that. But he was a man that liked to create language. He liked to make these maps and fantasize, and it's what he would love to do. And so that's what you're listening to is passion. You know, it's pretty cool. But it's I have to admit one thing though, it's long-winded. It goes on quite a bit, but it does keep the mind busy.
Don't be a turkey. Place your Thanksgiving meal order today. Old South Pancaking.
Pretty good song. REM's South Central Rain. All right, Christmas trees have arrived right off West Lancaster and University. There they are. The Fort Worth ISD Farrington Field. So go pick it up. Make sure it doesn't have a squirrel nest in it. And you gotta deal with the pine needles. At least you get the plastic one. I'd probably get the plastic one. It's just personal opinion. Those pine needles better have a really strong vacuum, because they will shed like a furry dog onto your carpet or wooden floor, whatever you have. Sorry, sorry.
To much walking on short commons that he had been. Very odd.
There he is. Say goodnight, kitty. And maybe next time.
Right, so Kitty already had his temptations, and I'm basically just cooking this ramen with spinach, carrots, Italian red cut onions, tuna, bell pepper, and that's pretty much it for tonight. Y'all have a good one.
Dry ice is in it. Ooh. So I'm gonna add some of this ranch a little bit later from McDonald's, and some of this pure honey. Then we get a little treat, fortune cookie treat. I kind of, to be honest, I know it sounds crazy, but I had Panda the other night. Panda was good, but this, I competed. You know, the way I season it, I put extra seasoning in it. It's not too bad.
It's good ramen. Like, if you get the better ramen, it's way better. But the spinach helps, the carrots help, the bell pepper, you know, the flat, it's Italian flat red onion. Italian red, I think they say Italian flat red onion. And let's see, carrots. Got some carrots and some tuna. It's actually not too bad. And then once the water goes down a little bit, I get some water in it, and I add some ranch to it.
So, not really joking. I actually do enjoy this. It's pretty good, and it's cheap. This is basically 27 cents plus the vegetables, and the tuna is $1, so the $1.27 for the base part of it, with the vegetables and everything like that. I don't know, $3 or $4, depending on if you're only using a partial amount of the vegetables. I'll put double the spice on it. There was a leftover beef spice one and a shrimp one, so I added those two. That's why it's kind of brown.
Let's see what's on. Oh, there I am. Okay. Are the Nationals good? Behind the scenes on Ghost. There he is. That's Malcolm Guite. His stuff is amazing. He does smoke a pipe, a tobacco pipe, but his stuff is like pretty good. Oh yeah, that's a good documentary. I actually own that documentary, The Devil and Daniel Johnston. It's crazy that Daniel Johnston actually became famous, but he did. He was a great musician. Ooh, Mystic River behind the scenes. That's a tough one. Yeah, Sean Penn won an Oscar for that, for Best Actor. I don't know if ooh, there's some Charles Bukowski. He always wrote between 10 and 2. 10 p.m. and 2 in the morning. There's John Lennon. There's Drexel Spivey.
What happens when an actor is so good at certain roles that...
2 years ago, Udo Kier's Criterion Collection. Yeah, I watched Eraserhead last night. I didn't talk about it, though. I will find something.
Hey man, welcome to my little hiking ship.